Alright. I doubt we're going to get a pool as good as the previous one. But we do have Sworn to Legion, and Ascend from Avernus, and Fraying Line, and Altar of Ball. That is a lot of late game in white-black. So in white, we have Humiliation, Unicorn, Cleric, Dustguard, Soldiers, Paladin, Here's Something, Lulu, Flame Fist, Priest, Hippogriff. 3 Stalwarts is not normally where I would want to be. Would be much happier with 3 Priests. But Ranger Squadron, Sworn to the Legion, Ascend from Avernus. Okay, so white has pretty decent early game and pretty reasonable late game. So we're probably playing white. Blue has nothing. Black has 2 Armor of Shadows. Okay, I dig that. It's got a gate. That's cool. 2 Shambling Ghasts. I guess that actually is really interesting with Sworn to the Legion and with Ascend from Avernus. Altar of Ball is interesting. Deadly Dispute's interesting. Bonecaller Cleric. We have a lot of reanimation nonsense. Grim Wanderer. Double Sewer Plague. Skullport. And like Black Dragon's the top end. It's not exciting top end, but it's a top end. Huh. Okay. So that's pretty reasonable. Red has Dragonfire, Improvised Weapon. Wow, no 2-drop creatures in red. Oh my. Yeah, okay, red's not playable. Green has 2 Skanos, isn't bad, but otherwise pretty much nothing. We have a Liara. Well, normally a Liara would be really interesting, and actually is really, really interesting with Sworn to Legion, but our red just didn't look playable. We also have Fraying Line, which is also good. So I think we're definitely in white-black. And then we gotta find some trims. Green-looking 2 Owlbears and Shepherds. I mean, an Owlbear Shepherd's fine. 2 Owlbears is fine. I'm not super high on green as a color, because, like, Shepherd is moderately defensive, but not even, like, amazingly defensive. It takes a long time to get going. Green has a real problem with a lack of tempo-efficient removal and a lack of tempo-efficient blockers. So, like, its game plan is that it wants to clog up the board and start playing giant, beefy late-game things. But with the exception of specifically Myconid, it's bad at clogging up the board and stalling out the game. Cut Armor. Armor of Shadows? I actually really like Armor of Shadows, but I do agree that maybe only 1 Armor of Shadows would be reasonable. Flame Fist Officer is kind of appealing with the double Shambling Ghast. We can definitely cut Dawnbringer Cleric. That card I do not really like. Bonecaller, do we have anything useful for you to get back? I mean, I guess Bonecaller with Sworn to the Legion could be a cute engine in a late game. Let's see. I think Flame Fist is good. I think the other Flame Fist is good. I guess I could get away with cutting Steadfast Unicorn. I don't want to. I like it. I do like white Skanos, but I also think that, like, we're already at the point where we're making 2 cuts. I don't really need to splash anything when my late game is already Sworn to the Legion, which is amazing, and Ascend from Avernus, which is very good. What's the T on Fraying Line? I've just been very impressed with Fraying Line as a card. It's a real hindrance to anybody who's trying to get an aggressive start on you. It just slows them down a lot. And it often ends up just being a 1-for-1, but it's a 1-for-1 that buys you a ton of time, which is just worthwhile. Maybe it's Shambling Ghast? No, it's not Shambling Ghast. I can't cut Shambling Ghast when I got Skullport Merchant. I really love Steadfast Unicorn as a mana sink. But maybe this deck doesn't need a mana sink? Maybe it's Bonecaller Cleric? I got very few things worth reanimating. It's basically just Black Dragon and kind of Ranger Squadron. Well, I got Skullport Merchant too, is actually pretty close to useful. Time to splash OG? No. No, I've been tricked into splashing blue for any reason whatsoever, and it has not yet been correct. Not yet once paid off. Sworn to the Legion and Ascend from Avernus and Black Dragon mean that I can't justify playing 16 lands in this deck. Too much top end. Altar of Ball is a 3-drop. We might actually not have enough 2-drops. I might not have been able to cut. Cleric. No, I got 2 Shambling Gas. That kind of fills the same role. Scanning with these flyers is finishing? Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think we have trouble winning the late game with this pool. That's not really my objective. Do you ever make changes to sealed decks after playing a few games with him? I do, but I also do more frequently at the beginning of any particular format. I tend to be more satisfied with the decks that I'm building at this point in the format, where I've got like a week of experience under my belt and feel pretty comfortable that I've built the best version of the pool the first way through. Or at the very least, the version of the pool that most caters to my playstyle, I guess. It might just have to be Steadfast Unicorn, which is a little disappointing. But probably correct. I feel like I somehow undervalue this Unicorn because I never managed to actually put it in my deck, but I constantly feel like it's a very important card whenever anybody plays it against me. I really feel like the cut might actually be the Flaming Fist Officer, but I feel like with Shambling Ghast, Skullport Merchant, Deadly Dispute, Altar of Ball, all being things that remove my other creatures from the battlefield, I feel like that makes Flame Fist Officer better. Maybe that's just not true. We'll give it a test. I do think that cutting this for Steadfast Unicorn might have a chance of being correct. Which of the Flame Fist cards? Because we have 2 of them. There's the 2-drop that I think is very solid, and the 3-drop that I think can be solid, but might not be in this deck. 3-drop? Yeah. I want to see if it feels better than normal in this deck, but it probably won't. Okay, so this hand's pretty bad on account of not doing anything, but if we draw a single creature, we get to protect it and dirtle really hard. So we're just going to draw a single creature. Or we could draw lands. That's fine too, as long as our opponent doesn't play anything that's threatening. So far, that's a success. If opponent's kind enough to just not play anything until turn 6, I can go turn 5 Gate, turn 6 Sworn to the Legion with nothing in play. That's also not actually good for me, but, I mean, it is cute. You should just not play a 3-drop opponent. I was kind enough to not play a 3-drop. Pilgrim's Eye. Alright, that's mostly not the worst thing that could have happened. Did I remember to check whether we had any artifacts that were playable? I feel like I did. So normally this is the exact scenario where Fraying Line would be excellent, except our opponent hasn't played any creatures. Admittedly, they were, like, listening to me when I requested them to do that. But, I could have jammed Blessed Hippogriff there with no protection up. I'm a little too worried that they're going to play 4-mana sorcery speed removal that gives them a treasure. So I'd rather wait to play the Hippogriff until we have 5 mana. Oh, okay. Opponent's just ramping. That's cool. So we'll get to play our Hippogriff. Holding up Armor of Shadows. Hopefully fizzle a removal spell. Now our 2-drop shows up, huh? I see how it is. I guess we could wait on the Hippogriff? I really don't want to, though. I want to play the Hippogriff and then Sworn to the Legion attack with the Hippogriff next turn. But maybe that's just too slow? The problem with playing the Flame Fist Dust Guard is then I'm holding up an protection spell that I don't actually think they'll play a removal spell on. No, I think it's just Hippogriff and pass. This curve out has been awkward. I'd also really rather play Sworn to the Legion and attack with Hippogriff on a turn where we have 7 mana, not 6. But, yeah, what you gonna do? So I guess what I'd like to have happen is for my opponent to like attack with Pilgrim's Eye, I block, they play the Death Touch card? Maybe? Either that or 4 mana sorcery speed removal on Blessed Hippogriff is still good for me. Worse since they played a ramp spell, so they can still do other stuff this turn, but still pretty solid for me in terms of how much tempo it costs them. Hill Giant. Okay, I might not care about that very much. I mean, it's definitely a lot, but could be less. Can I have the time to play Sworn to the Legion here, given that they're pressuring me with a Hill Giant? Probably not. So I think I gotta go Flame Fist, Priest. Which gives me a double block on Hill Giant. Am I pressuring my opponent's life total with our Hippogriff this turn? Or am I defending my life total? I am probably defending my life total. If Hill Giant attacks here, I think that encourages me to triple block, which only lets me save 1 creature with Armor of Shadows, but plays around Lindworm. Lantern. Okay. Maybe it's not worth playing around Lindworm. You know what, if they had Lindworm, they'd probably attack with Pilgrim's Eye and Hill Gorger, which means I get to double block Hill Giant and then single block Pilgrim's Eye. Oh, then they'd still just save the Herd Gorger and they'd lose the Pilgrim's Eye, so that wouldn't actually be how they would attack. No, my Priest! This is actually fine. It makes the opponent attack with the Herd Gorger and then I get to kill it with Armor of Shadows. The sad part is that I don't get to Sworn to the Legion the Priest of Ancient Lore over and over again. That bit's a bummer. Sweet. No auto tapper. Absolutely not. So this is the position where Fraying Line is not very useful, where my opponent just didn't play creatures early and played a bunch of ramp spells. And, like, even in this worst-case position, there is still a possibility that my opponent totally floods the board and I just play Fraying Line, they spend 2 mana and only get to save 1 of their creatures. Okay, so my opponent plays a Meteor Golem and blows up Sworn to Legion. That's a problem. I mean, I did get a Hippogriff out of it, so it's not, like, the end of the world, but that's still pretty bad. So I think what I'm supposed to do now is, like, just sit here and dirtle? I don't think I'm supposed to play Fraying Line, because I think my opponent is enough not overextended to the board that they would just let it pop, lose their 3 creatures, and be fine with that. So I think I'm supposed to wait 1 more turn for overextensions and try to win this on a value front. Oh yeah, Meteor Golem is an excellent, excellent, excellent card. Very few decks don't want to run Meteor Golem when they have the option. And of those, it's mostly decks that want to be like 16 land, very aggressive decks. Oh, that's true. We have multiple reanimation spells, and we can get back... Oh, wait. We can get back the Priest of Ancient Lore, that it still has double team. Yeah. So they know about the indestructibility. Wow, they are just ramping, huh? I really would rather them play creatures. They can swing for 3 with Meteor Golem. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. I can take 3 damage at this point in the game. Pilgrim's Eye. Wow. The sad part is our opponent keeps playing ramp spells that conjure cards, so like they're not even actually decking themselves. Okay, I believe this is the part of the game where I just play the fraying line. So opponent spends 2 mana and saves their Meteor Golem. And then I crack Fraying Line on my turn. This also stops them from playing other creatures, which means that they're just going to activate the gates here, which is an awful lot of card advantage. But, I mean, my hand's kind of stacked for late game, too. Yeah, they will end up attacking with everything here. So we end up taking 7 damage. Puts us down to 7. So alternatively, I could block the Meteor Golem, only takes 6, and then use Blessed Hippogriff, and then finish off the Meteor Golem with Patriarch's Humiliation? That might actually be the right call. That way I can actually play out the Blessed Hippogriff, which I kind of want to do anyway. That's not correct, opponent. Okay. Sure. Deal. What are you going to do? Specialize it? Like, yeah, then you nerf my Hippo, I guess, but you're also not activating gates. So what do you do when you're green? When it dies, create a bunch of boars. Opponent, you're going to be really disappointed when that thing doesn't die. Alright, well, I'm going to Sewer Plague the Meteor Golem. And I'm going to go to my turn, and I'm going to exile all of your stuff. Because I'm not required to pay for this. Oh, and hey, look, I got a Hippo. Ooh, Ascend from Avernus. That's a little busted. It could be more busted in the future. We shall wait. Okay, yeah, I don't have an alternative for out of tap. I can't hold up Blessed Hippogriff and Humiliation. Is Fraying Line even good? Can't they just always pay 2? They can, but I'm allowed to choose not to pay 2. That is what makes Fraying Line good. Oh dear. Skullport Merchant's actually pretty annoying. I'm going to just remove their ability to draw cards with that forever. Yeah. I did in fact remove that ability, opponent, and it is gone forever. Do 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 do. Ooh, Grim Wanderer's fun. Technically, I could sack something to Skullport Merchant to get a way to cast that, but that's probably not happening anytime soon. I don't think playing Skullport Merchant here really has any merit. Technically, it holds a Blessed Hippogriff, but then I'd have to sack a treasure to do so, and that just sounds worse than just continuing to hold up my late game nonsense. Opponent continues getting to seek. I believe that's all their gates successfully seeked. Yeah. I'm not really sure how I've... Oh, wait, no. I was going to say I'm not really sure how I'm out-card advantaging my opponent here. I forgot that we got, like, a 5-for-1, which kind of is probably why I'm out-card advantaging my opponent now that I think about it. And Deadly Dispute. Oh, that's true. We also drew 2 cards. Sworn to the Legion was kind of like drawing 1 card. Oh, Shadowheart's pretty bad. And they have a card in hand that they got to seek that hopefully isn't black. And also hopefully isn't white. Mostly hopefully isn't black. Shadowheart gaining lifelink would be really inconvenient right about now. Okay, so they don't discard to give it lifelink. That's a good sign. But that isn't to say that they won't do that later. So I now absolutely have to race my opponent. I wish I could discard, like, most of my hand. I kind of think I just have to ascend for 2 cards, which is a little bit of a bummer. But I really want to gain this life. Okay, so now we can play the Skullport Merchant, which also fizzles Shadowheart if we need it to. Assuming that they give it lifelink and then attack, we can sack a creature after blocks. Which means they only net gain 1 life, go up to 8, and then we can kill them in the air. And I couldn't just play Skullport to have this line available without activating the Ascend from Avernus, because I need another creature, and I couldn't play the Grim Wanderer because nothing died. I could have played the Hippogriff and the Skullport Merchant and had more mana, but then, like, then I wouldn't have the Hippogriff in hand. Oh, wow, look. They gave lifelink to Shadowheart. I'm so very surprised. Alright, opponent. What's your last card? Oh, that's really rude. Okay. Well, I can still fizzle that, but now I can't deny the lifelink. Well, they have to attack. I can just kill it. And then they, like, don't have the ability that's clocking me, so I guess that's actually totally fine, too. This hand seems pretty cool. No! Oh, wait, I guess Unicorn's actually pretty fine. That's not one of the things that blocks Soldiers of the Watch well. Tollkeeper also doesn't block Soldiers of the Watch very well. I think in this position my opponent's supposed to make my Swamp come in tapped, because I don't really care about the Soldiers of the Watch coming in tapped at all. Like, I wasn't going to block with it here regardless. Medical Hybrid from Anti, which is shortened to Ant before vowels. Huh. Weird. Well, Skullport Merchant is pretty stellar here. Am I to assume that my opponent is going to kill my soldier? Nope. Okay. Curious. I wasn't really expecting my opponent to be on the do-nothing plan. Looks like we named it in 1732 and never changed it. Alright, that sounds way more reasonable. I'm willing to believe that they should have attacked with the Tollkeeper there. I couldn't have blocked. Would have just been free. They're threatening to activate the Unicorn if I do block and blow me out pretty hard. Okay. Well, you can't activate Unicorn during my turn, so what are you going to do if I swing with Soldiers of the Watch? Trade? With Unicorn? Trade with Tollkeeper? I'm on board for either of those. Linnorm? Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility, but if they use Linnorm, then I just have Skullport Merchant Sack on board. Hippogriff. Okay, yeah, but again, I just still have the Skullport Merchant Sack on board, though. I mean, I guess that doesn't really cost them anything. Should I Bone Offering rather than play the Soldiers of the Watch? I don't think so. Holding on to the treasure, if this enters the deep late game, seems valuable. Yeah, because like casting this Black Dragon and getting into the graveyard is a huge deal, actually. I don't want to do that ASAP, so holding on to the treasure for that seems valuable. Oh no, a Hippogriff. Whatever will I do? Let's see. What if I were to play a Lulu? And then pass the turn. Alright, opponent. Do you wish to represent activating Steadfast Unicorn to get in with the Tollkeeper, even though you didn't do that earlier? Because you absolutely can give the Tollkeeper flying and attack with the Hippogriff and Tollkeeper and represent that, if you want to. What? Oh. Okay, so this gets in 1 point of damage without... There we go. Now you're doing it. But as it happens, I actually super want to trade my Lulu for their 4 mana. Oh, okay. You were bluffing, opponent? Ooh. Werebear. Moderately scary. Don't want to use anything else. Mostly just want to get rid of Blessed Hippogriff. So now the Unicorn activating Polar Werebear becomes a 5/6, which actually means my double block still kills it. Making it a 5/6 plus giving it indestructible would be an issue. Yeah, I could have discarded Black Dragon and then, like, Altar of Balled it back, but I think just casting it gives us more long-term value. And also, Altar of Balling things doesn't put them in my graveyard, which makes Ascend from Avernus weaker. So, if possible, I'd like my stuff to die, and then Ascend from Avernus, and then Altar of Ball. Yeah, there's the Hippogriff. And the Unicorn. That was the bad case scenario. But also, at the same time as being a bad case scenario, it's kind of fine. Priest of Ancient Lore gains flying. Oh, and we get to Sewer Plague the Werebear, do we? Is that what I want to do? The other option is that I could Deadly Dispute, sacking the Priest, and play Grim Wanderer, and continue just absolutely stuffing my graveyard for Ascend from Avernus. That's pretty tempting, too. I should probably play it safe and keep shrinking that werebear. It's going to be a real problem in the long run. I think I can afford the extra time here. Then on a blue for werebear. Never assume they're not going to top deck blue for werebear. That is not how that works. But does stop... It puts a card in hand instead of letting the werebear just die, I suppose. Which gives it a discard outlet for Specialize. Pilgrim's Eye is probably the most played card in Sealed or Prism. If that's true, if it's Prism, that's a mistake. If it's Pilgrim's Eye, I mean, they should have picked up this werebear. I guess I'm probably supposed to do this. This is kind of fun, though. The werebear's going to die and allow me to cast the Grim Wanderer as a flash blocker in combat. Pilgrim goes in basically every deck because of its value with Specialize? Because of its value with Specialize. Okay, well this could be bad. It wasn't. Does Pilgrim's Eye really have value with Specialize? I mean, I guess it's got, like, technically some. I kind of wonder if I'm supposed to Deadly Dispute sacking Skullport Merchant so I can get it back with a Send from Avernus. Or whether I'm just supposed to ignore that. 3, 5, 6. So if I hit a land, I can ascend for 6. I'd really rather ascend for 7. So I think we're just going to try to dirtle for 2 turns. So anything they could attack with here, other than the Hippogriff, trades with Priest. I guess I have to be worried about Steadfast Unicorn now. That might be an issue. I guess I probably have to alter sacking the 4/1 to get the dragon back to kill the unicorn. Do I want the priest dead? Yeah, I want the priest dead. I don't want to save the priest because if I saved the priest, I couldn't Grim Wanderer. I don't want a Grim Wanderer. Okay, let's swing with our 4/1 Menace. I presume the opponent doesn't want to block. That makes sense. I could have already Grim Wandered, yes, but saving the priest meant that I would have had to sack the treasure to cast the Grim Wanderer. That's the part that I didn't actually want to do. I wanted to keep the treasure so we could get back to the ascend for x equals 7 sooner. Alright, now my board blocks pretty well. Do I play the Flame Fist? That means not holding up Blessed Hippogriff. But I can also just, like, cast a smaller Ascend from Avernus and still win this game. It's not too horrifically critical that I cast Ascend for 7. They actually have to kill my Black Dragon before that's even relevant, anyway. Yeah, opponent doesn't really have a lot that's, like, terribly meaningful to attack with here. Yep. They absolutely have a 4/4 that leaves behind 2 2/2s. Now, what of this would I rather have die? The Black Dragon? It does leave me 1 land drop away. Yeah, the altar doesn't actually sack something. When you sack it to go get a creature back, it exiles it, so you don't get death triggers. And that's also why I wanted to sack the tokens so that I would have more bodies to throw in the graveyard for Ascend. I mean, I'm sort of playing with my food at this point, but also, I don't know, playing with your food is fun. Opponent, you're supposed to attack so that I can, like, lose my board here. That's really what I was looking for. Alright, well, what if we attacked with Grim Wanderer and baited the opponent into trying to double block it so that I could at least play Hippogriff and play a bunch of stuff out? That's probably fine. I don't know. I'm really trying to like figure out what the best possible move to maximize the amount of stuff in my graveyard is, but I should probably be killing my opponent instead, realistically speaking. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's worth sacking the Shambling Gas, or, well, exiling the Shambling Gas permanently to get back this card draw. And then we can figure out a way to sacrifice this card draw, preferably on my opponent's creatures. Trade for a Merchant? Yeah, Merchant might be better than the Priest, I guess. That could be true. Is this sorcery only? Yeah. Let's see. My life total is pretty cozy. Yeah, this seems mostly fine. Oh, I can sack the Black Dragon if we have a... Yeah, that was actually worth a lot more. I should have just sacked the Dust Guard to get that. Okay. Yeah. I forgot about sack outlets being good. Alright, what are we getting rid of then? I guess probably the Priest at this point? Yeah, probably the Priest. Which triggers the Flame Fist Officer. Oh, but if I sack all my creatures on their turn, then I can't give them haste on my turn. I guess also, like, they're dead. This is why Ascend from Avernus, I'm not actually sure it's a good card. Like, our opponent died before we got to use it to get, like, our 12 for 1. That's tricky. Realistically, you just play the card to cast it for X equals 3. Okay, on the play, Steadfast Paladin on 2. A lot of cards we can't play on 3. It's probably fine. Oh, explain QQ. Help me remember to do that after the game. I will probably forget. I gotta say, I hadn't really thought about it, but Sewer Plague with Grim Wanderer is a really cool interaction. Alright, I would like to not miss land drops. Good enough. Would have preferred a black source, but could be worse. Alright, my opponent's not really doing anything. Alright, land drops, that's good. Alright. So my opponent... Grave choice, huh? So I could either give my opponent a Steadfast Paladin and pump my Flame Fist Officer, or I could not give them a Flame Fist Officer. Or rather, not give them anything and just lose a Flame Fist Officer. I kind of like keeping the 2/2 lifelinker. That kind of sounds like a better use of my time. And then I could play a 5/3, Or I could play 4-1 with Menace. I'm probably supposed to play the 5-3. I think it's bigger. It's weird to not use the more expensive card in terms of like mana efficiency. But also we are making the bigger card. And it's kind of hard to be mana efficient with Grim Wanderer because of the timing restrictions. Also, my opponent could just sit around doing nothing forever, I guess. That would be fine. Yeah, Grim Wanderer is a hard card to evaluate from a mana efficiency standpoint because you have not terribly much control over when you're actually allowed to cast it. Which I think altogether makes it more than worth just jamming. Gut. That kills my paladin. How rude. Alright, so then Gut trades with Grim Wanderer. Am I okay with that? I mean, I could shrink the Gut with Sewer Plague. Am I okay with that? Probably I want to shrink the Gut with Sewer Plague. I mean, keeping the lethal threat in play is probably a good idea. I guess hypothetically speaking, I could have done that and let the Gut die on upkeep. But then they could have like sacked it to a Deadly Dispute or something. I don't think having Grim Wanderer untapped by not attacking was worth that. Like, if my opponent has a hasty creature and attacks me, I'm not actually blocking with Grim Wanderer anyway. I'm at 28 life. Shambling Ghast. Okay, that's kind of a problem. Kills a 4-1 really good. Ambergris. That's not actually relevant at all. They already had a blocker for Grim Wanderer. I kind of want to play the Skullport Merchant pre-combat. That way, if they sack Shambling Ghast to kill the 4-1, I could sack the 4-1? I can sack the 4-1 to Deadly Dispute regardless, and then still play Soldiers of the Watch. I think we're fine here. Oh, okay. That's your plan. Ambergris didn't have a point at all. That's reasonable. Very well. In that case, I'll just put him to 1 and then play Skullport Merchant, Soldiers of the Watch. They did have the Deadly Dispute. Okay, so the Ambergris really didn't have a point. That doesn't actually make sense. I think they should have blocked with the Ambergris on the Grim Wanderer then. I guess they wanted to draw the cards. Sure. So, do I Deadly Dispute or do I play Skullport Merchant and Soldiers of the Watch? Now that my opponent's not going to be at 1, I don't think there's a point in playing Soldiers of the Watch. Skullport and Soldiers? Because we drew land or just Lulu? I think it's Skullport and Soldiers so that I can block the Ambergris if they attack. Would I even bother blocking the Ambergris if they attack? Unsure. Red Dragon. Alright, that doesn't matter. The backside of Lulu only matters if you have flyers, which we don't. Now if they attack with Amber, I would block. Okay. Do I got anything in the grave there that matters? Only the Flame Fist, which doesn't really matter. So if I Sewer Plague, Red Dragon, we kill a creature, play Altar. feel like Soldiers of the Watch plus Sewer Plague is probably the move here. Yeah, I dig that. I dig that a lot. Now, do I go Lulu soldiers or Sewer Plague soldiers? Because the Red Dragon doesn't really matter. Killing Ambergris was the thing that I really cared about, and possibly saving a creature that they blocked with Red Dragon. So, I think we're just going to go wide for the time being. Sword of the Legion is super, super brutal if the game goes long. Yes. Oh, okay, the opponent has no cards. I mean, my opponent's flooding out compared to me. Although, I would also have had a much easier time winning this game if I had, like, one more land. I've been kind of constrained on how many spells I can play per turn. But it is usually pretty good to have more spells than your opponent. I believe I am discarding this black dragon so that we can do more damage. And then I believe I'm attacking with everybody. I have to imagine they block the Lulu and then we Sewer Plague and kill the red dragon, while also putting them to 1. So now we just have 3 lethal threats, which is pretty good. And we hope the opponent doesn't board wipe us. There is a 7-mana board wipe in the set. But that does not appear to be what they have. I feel more than incentivized to keep a hand that goes 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. Green-red, Genasi Rabble-Rouser. No, that card's so good. The stat line on this card is just so incredibly impressive. So few things when you're on the draw can actually block it in any meaningful way. I mean, I could have Patriarch's Humiliationed it, but that would be deeply unexciting. Now, I can't really even attack into him either. The only good news is that it's not actually killing me that fast. I think not blocking is correct, because it kind of forces them to play something that blocks Duskguard well. Unfortunately, Pilgrim's Eye is amazing at that. So that's also weird and sad. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to sack Shambling Ghast and kill the Pilgrim's Eye. Do I really want to do that? I don't actually think that I want to do that. Because I kind of want to cast Sworn to the Legion. So I guess I'm just going to, like, let them continue punching me for the time being and try to draw my next land. Which we're not succeeding at. So the next turn, I think I Patriarch's Humiliation to kill a Rabble-Rouser, and then Deadly Dispute, Shambling Ghast. Probably making a treasure. Sellsword. Alright, well that just trades with some of my tiny creatures right now. We're fine with that. They really should have attacked with Rabble-Rousers. They did not have a reason to not do so. Okay. Is it worth developing Soldiers of the Watch if it stops me from going Deadly Dispute and Patriarch's Humiliation? Hypothetically, no, but I kind of feel like if I build out my board, it makes it more likely that the opponent doesn't attack at all. Like, I don't think they want to swing with Sellsword into Flaming Fist Duskguard. So I think we're not going to need to Humiliation this turn. No, they've learned. It's probably fine, right? I can still just trade. No, I could also just block with Shambling Ghast. I could also just not block. Shambling Ghast blocks free. I'm imagining they're holding back the Pilgrim's Eye because if I attack with a 3-1, Pilgrim's Eye is what they want to block with. Same with if I attack with Soldiers of the Watch. I could kill that Pilgrim's Eye. No, I've got a 7-drop I want to cast. Alright, time to go ham. My life total is at 20. I am just going to put infinity cards in my hand. That's the goal. Oh, I'm going to kill the Priest of Ancient Lore to deny you a Priest of Ancient Lore in your hand. It'd be real sad if I had top-decked an indestructibility spell to stop that. Oh, nope. Okay. I would like to draw 4 cards, please. Boop. So now I kind of have to use one of these spells in order to not discard the hand size. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Sworn to the Legion. Pretty cool card. Oh, okay. Okay. Would I rather Armor of Shadows? Yeah, I'd probably rather Armor of Shadows. I think that's slightly better than Humiliation here. It actually keeps the Soldiers of the Watch in play. Whereas Humiliation does kill Sellsword, yes, and probably prevents more damage. But, I mean, killing the Rabble Rouser prevents a lot of damage, too. Oh. Alright. Removal spell successfully 1-for-1'd. Which also means, yeah, my opponent gets to do a lot of damage here. Luckily, I'm at 20 life. 20 life is a lot of life. Alright, so now I get to go Dusk Guard. And play another 3-1 Priest that gains a life and draws a card and gains some double team. And then we get to hold up Humiliation. Do we hold up Humiliation? What if the opponent has a pump spell? Nah, let's just kill the Sellsword. That's the safe option. Alright, opponent. Your go. Oh dear. Yep, alright. Priest of Ancient Lore no longer representing infinity card draw by attacking and playing more Priest of Ancient Lores. How sad. Why do you think Sworn Legion has pretty bad stats on 17 lands? I don't know. In Sealed? Maybe players trying too hard to play Sworn to the Legion no matter what? For draft. Okay, yeah, I don't know for draft how the speed of the format differs. I actually have not played draft at all, so I can't really comment. I felt very strongly that it's been impressive in Sealed because it synergizes with running all of the very good aggressive creatures. So like a deck like what I'm playing can just run over the opponent sometimes, and then sometimes it uses Sworn to the Legion as a late game win con. Oh dear. That dragon's actually a problem. So they can't block the dragon here. but they can't attack with their dragon? I'm not actually sure how I beat that dragon. I could draw a chump. Or, oh, do I have... Yeah, sack outlet would have done it. I can go up to 4 with Priest for 5 mana. Yeah, so if I blocked with Black Dragon, they would have done 4 to my face, and the second Black Dragon block would have resulted in me being at 1. But I think we still lose even making those blocks. I can't flash in Black Dragon in any way. I don't see a way around needing to use Altar of Ball to get back a Priest and find something to gain life. Certainly not a land. Well, alright. Wrathful Red Dragon is actually just that busted. Patriarch's Blessing wouldn't do it. We already used it. I'm actually... Well, let's look at the deck. What would have done it there? I was dead on that combat, yeah. I had no way to stop dying. They just attack with the dragon and then I die. Yeah, Sewer Plague would have done it as a 2 of. That's true. I think it might have just been Sewer Plague as the only out at that point. So if we drawn Sewer Plague for the turn, or Skullport Merchant for the turn, and then off of Altar of Ball we had 2 Sewer Plagues that we could find. Yeah, we didn't have any flying priests. If we had a flying creature that was smaller, although both our priests in that case actually had 3 powers, they still... Oh, no, because we went up to 4. So that it would have worked. Had it been flying, yeah. And we'd already used the Deadly Dispute. Well, darn! Idea, Altar of Ball plus Shambling Ghast the previous turn, then cast Black Dragon next turn and sacrifice Shambling Ghast with Altar. I don't think we would have had enough mana to do that, because that would have taken 10 mana? Yeah, I don't think so. How's Frangline been? Consistently pretty excellent. I really like this card. It single-handedly won us most of the games that it showed up in. I mean, we might have won them without it, but it's consistently extremely good at most points in the game. You just have to be very thoughtful about how you play it. Alrighty. So we get Steadfast Paladin, which is mostly just pretty good. But opponent is on the play. And Viconia is a very, very good card, unfortunately for me. That said, it's good more in the late... It's solid on 2, which is part of why it's such an amazing card. Its stats are still good. But it doesn't take over the game yet. Really? Okay, opponent. You have my curiosity. Why did Viconia hang back? Because you assume I was going to swing with the Paladin anyway? I'm really curious whether the opponent has a combat trick here. Or rather, whether they have Dragonfire. So I could just Armor of Shadows the Paladin and then get blown out by Dragonfire. I think I'd actually... Like, the upside of the Armor of Shadows line is that I get to play Grim Wanderer, and that's like a huge beating. I get to play Grim Wanderer even if the... No. I'm not willing to risk it. I'm actually going to kill the Viconia with You Hear Something on Watch. So that way, if my opponent actually has a Dragonfire here, I get to Armor of Shadows. Okay. Successfully played around all the nonsense. If they attack, they just take 2 damage for free? Yeah. Kind of. No! Doing that at sorcery speed means I don't get to do my Grim Wanderer stuff, opponent. How rude. Okay. So I could play Soldiers of the Watch and then Shump block when they play a hasty attacker. That's probably worse than just playing the Priest. Alright, opponent, what kind of really big haster do you... Oh, gosh. That's a very terrifying big haster. Alright, how do we beat Null Hunting Party? It's gonna be a problem. I don't know if I can beat that. But I guess playing as much to the board as I can is the start of it. They need a land to cast the second? Well, I mean, they need a land to cast the second pre-combat. They can always just play it post-combat. But yeah, now it has haste, so I'm just taking 8, which is pretty bad. My stats are not well equipped for handling 4/4 first strikers. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Why? Okay, well that was just worse than playing the other card that was in your hand, opponent. I'll take it. I guess. I believe that I just want to convert this soldiers into a lifelinker. I still have like no way to deal with the hunting parties. Think the opponent's line was optimal? I disagree. I think they should have just given the Null Hunting Party haste and attacked with 2 4-power first strike hasters. They were representing more damage that way. I guess I should have attacked with a 4/1 last turn. That was an error. Oh, I mean, I can Shump block with it, I guess. How much do I like gaining the life? Altar of Ball converts that into a Priest of Ancient Lore. Yeah, so that's worth more. So I should have just attacked with the 4/1. Not doing 4 damage last turn was an error. Okay. Humiliation's a card. So they have a removal spell. They're incentivized to do it on the Paladin. Down to 2. Back up to 3. Yeah, still looking pretty miserable. Yeah, the Grim Wanderer limitation here is real bad. How do we do this? I can't hold up a gate here. Should I have blocked in a way that forced them to kill the priest? No, because that would have resulted in 2 things dying, right? No. If I'd switched the soldiers and the priest, that would have been better. That was an error. Yeah, Hunting Party is a absolute stellar uncommon. Yeah. Okay, block. Five 3 gets played. Becomes a 6-3. Sewer Plague. Weirdly, that is enough if my opponent never top decks another creature. Will you back the priest? Play a land drop. Shrink the Hunting Party. Alright. Oh, we're hanging in there. Oh, yeah. Trade with the War Caller. Go to 1. Alright. Orb that gives haste to all future dragons. Love to see it. Alright, draw a card. Oh, land's pretty bad. Land's pretty awful. Alright, flying blocker. Okay, lands is good. We like lands. Let's see. Sworn to the Legion is whenever you cast, so not when one comes back by altar. So if I were to Sworn to the Legion and then swing, I would get a copy of Lulu, and I could sack Lulu to get a priest. I think I'm better off just getting priest, though. And then starting to make copies of priest. Hoping they don't top deck a flying dragon. Hoping. Oh my goodness. Are we doing it? We seem to be doing it. I mean, I guess Paladin's probably better than a priest that's already done its double teaming. Oh, oops. I knew there was a reason I was supposed to do that in a specific order with Flaming Fist Officer. I just forgot what it was halfway through doing it. So I was supposed to have another counter on the Flaming Fist Officer here. which would be relevant in the sense that it would force the chump with Valor Singer, but also we could top deck Black Dragon. So I'm going to go with somehow we never didn't have it. We got very lucky. In a sense, I'm not sure exactly what my opponent's remaining cards were. But somehow I did... Oh, I didn't actually draw more cards than them. I just drew like infinity cards off Priest of Ancient Lore. That's why I have more lands than them. And that was mostly an engine after they kind of started flooding out. I mean, they drew 8 cards in the top... 8 lands in the top 20. That, well, if they have one more in here. Slightly unlucky. Slightly above average number of land draws, assuming they have 1 or 2 more in hand. Still, I'll take it. I am more than happy to win a game that I had no business winning. So for what it's worth, I think that I ended that game at 1 life. I think the opponent playing the Beatles instead of the Hyena on the turn that they did that. I think that explicitly cost them 2 damage, and I think that lost them the game. Alright, so Patriarch's Humiliation is not actually a 1-drop for these purposes, but I do love 2-drop into 3-drop. We'll start on Swamp so I don't give away that I have Humiliation. Wow, I forgot we had Ranger Squadron in this deck. It's been a while since that showed up. Portable Hole. That's adorable. Well, I mean, Soldiers of the Watch actually is almost a real card. Actually, it is a real card, because I can't Patriarch's Humiliation it. Look at that. Alright, opponent. This is like the best Portable Hole I've ever seen. Admittedly, that's partially because the opponent didn't top deck, or didn't get to play Soldiers of the Watch on 2. No, I mean, even if they played Soldiers of the Watch on 2, it still would have been good. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Portable Hole is much better in draft than sealed, overall. Do I want to trade off my 3/1 Priest with their Pilgrim's Eye? Assuming that it pumps the Flame Fist Officer? It does make it kind of appealing. I also have to be concerned about when I can play Grim Wanderer, although Patriarch's Humiliation means that Grim Wanderer is probably not going to be terribly hard to enable. Yeah, I think I accept this trade given that it's pumping the Flame Fist Officer. Maybe that's not true. Maybe that's a lie. Oh dear. Yeah, no, I want to make this trade because then I can block Soldiers of the Watch profitably. So this ends up preventing damage. Lurking Roper. Okay. I mean, I'm not currently being aggressive anyway. Another Soldiers of the Watch. Oh no! Fraying Line, huh? Okay. Well, that gets to be interesting if the opponent decides to go harder on committing to the board. That's a lot of mana for the opponent. Lurking Roper, huh? Okay. So what's her combat trick? Ah, literally +1/+1 to the entire team. Okay. So I could let that happen and then just play Grim Wanderer. I could also use the Humiliation on the soldiers and play Grim Wanderer. That doesn't set up for a very good fraying line. But trying to maximize fraying line is not necessarily what I should be optimizing for. I think I just accept Patriarch's Humiliation into Grim Wanderer here. Yeah, so I'm taking a little bit of damage. That's ultimately fine. Okay, opponent doesn't play any other creatures, so I don't really want to go into fraying line, so we'll just do Grim Wanderer race. Ooh, Shambling Ghast is a delightful draw. should have played Shambling Gas pre-combat in case I needed to sack it to Deadly Dispute. Yeah, that would have been a big deal, actually. It would have meant that I would have eaten the Lurking Roper with my Flame Fist Officer instead of nothing. Big mistake. But live and let live. Let's see. So now that this situation has changed, do I play the Fraying Line? They just exile their board and play the Guardian, make a 1/1. Considering I have Ranger Squadron, I'm actually like super okay with that. I'm also okay if they just pay 2 and put a counter on Lurking Roper. I just then exile with Fraying Line on my turn and we stopped them from playing Pegasus Guardian anyway. And they also can't play another creature because they would just be playing into Fraying Line. Yeah, so like what ended up happening with this Fraying Line is like this is pretty much the worst case scenario, and the result is still I traded 1-for-1 with a creature, and I stopped them from doing anything for an entire turn when they had plays. Like, that's really good tempo. If they have an instant speed way to like use a removal spell here, then they kind of got around us hurting them on tempo, but if they don't, and they didn't, then Fraying Line did a really good job of flipping that situation around. I continue to think Fraying Line is a pretty good card that requires a lot more nuance to how you play it than most, but a really good card if you put the work into it. I don't think there's any deck where I open Fraying Line and don't play Fraying Line. Pretty happy with a hand that lets me go Shambling Ghast on turn 1. No 2-drop. Little sad. Wilson. Okay. So if I attack with Shambling Ghast, I trade with Wilson at the cost of my turn, which is not ideal. Alternatively, I can play Flame Fist Officer and play towards Fraying Line. I think we play the Flaming Fist Officer. Do I attack with the Shambling Ghast now that I have played the Flaming Fist Officer? I mean, we do still get a treasure in addition to putting a counter on the Flaming Fist Officer. That has some merit. I kind of think that I actually should make this attack because I'm okay with my opponent just killing the Shambling Ghast. Which I also think means the opponent should probably not block because that implies that I think me losing the Shambling Ghast is fine. Fire Beetles. Okay. So I can't really attack with the Flaming Fist Officer, but I can attack with the Shambling Ghast. My mana lacking double white here is a little bit of a concern. My mana also lacking the capacity to play Fraying Line is kind of a concern. So do I play Flaming Fist Duskguard? Or do I just hold up a removal spell for the giant Fire Beetles? I think I want to remove the giant Fire Beetles, and I don't want to give my opponent the opportunity to go land plus +2/+2 hexproof. So I need to use a removal spell now. Which removal spell now do I want? Well, maybe I do want to give them the opportunity to do that, because I could still play Fraying Line. No, because I have to stop them from getting double team and just committing to the board. I think Patriarch's Humiliation is better, but when I'm missing land drops, I might just be mistaken on this. I might be supposed to value Sewer Plague. Or it might be just supposed to value mana efficiency of the lower cost spell. Merit to just killing bear there before specialize. I don't really care about the bear specifically because I have fraying line as an answer to it. And I wanted to deny the double team value of giant fire beetles more than caring about the bear. So the Wilson specializes, turns into a 5/5, and then attacks with Null Hunter as a 3/3. I guess I just have to play the Flaming Fist Dustguard now to make that less painful, which is annoying. I don't want to commit more to the board here, but apparently now I'm going to have to. Oh dear. Chaos Balor wipes my board when it attacks. That's a problem. Alright, so they just don't block. Yeah. How do I beat Chaos Balor? I guess Ascend from Avernus is the ticket. Oh, but they're gonna... No, they're gonna wipe my board. They're gonna give themselves treasure. Which also means that... Oh dear. So if I Sewer Plague, they only get one use out of Chaos Balor, which might be what I have to have happen here. I think Fraying Line, they just pay 2, put a counter on Chaos Balor, and that's not good enough. They should be attacking with everything here. Are they not going to wipe my board? Oh, maybe they're playing around Indestructible on Flaming Fist Officer? Yeah, I didn't have that, but understandable. Okay. Treasure... Oh, yeah, so they also get another trigger targeting them on their turn. That's correct. Oh, dear. Yeah, okay, I cannot win this. They save their red dragon here. And we stop them from playing anything else this turn. They save the Wilson over the red dragon? I guess that makes sense if they're going to specialize this turn. Yeah, I take a lot of damage. I was really expecting them to specialize the Wilson. Not doing that doesn't actually make a lot of sense. They gonna do it or post-combat? They need to spend their mana somehow. I mean, I guess they don't need to, but they should. Yeah, they are gonna do it post-combat. Okay. Well, I'll take my 3 extra life. I will decline to pay. Still missing the land drops, huh? I'm gonna send for 2 to get back Shambling Ghast and Flame Fist Dustguard. That's no good. Could play Altar of Ball to get a 4-1 that's tapped. That also sucks. Well, I've drawn, like, literally only the top end of my deck and not lands, so that's harsh. Yeah, there goes the 4-1. That's pretty bad. That's a 5-1 with Trample, so I can Ascend from Avernus, but unfortunately Altar of Ball has no synergy with Ascend from Avernus, so yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess we're dead. Alright. I was going to need to hit a land drop, or a 1-drop, or a 2-drop. Altar of Ball does not count. But we're playing against blue, so we have a lot of time. Hey, we did it. Am I better off playing the Priest or the Merchant? Merchant prevents 1 damage. I think I'm better off playing the Priest because I'm operating under the assumption that I want to put it in the graveyard for Altar of Ball eventually. Eventually. Okay. I do not hate my opponent just dirtling around. They are definitely dirtling around. And a land drop. You'll love to see it. Alright, so how do we sequence this, then? I'm assuming this Priest trades with Innkeeper, and I also assume that I'm okay with that. No? No? Okay. Well, you are also allowed to not actually do anything about it. That's fair. So I can play Skullport Merchant and Steadfast Paladin, try to commit to the board faster at the cost of a treasure. Let's see, is that good? Holding up Deadly Dispute isn't super valuable because my opponent's on blue-green. I don't have removal, so if my opponent just plays a 4-4 next turn, I can't really get in with the Paladin. I think that means I actually just take things very slowly and play Skullport Merchant and pass. That's a big creature. We do get to hear something on the Watch It, so we can just suck up a little bit of damage one time when they attack with the Innkeeper. Land drop, love to see it. So I could play Fraying Line here. I'd rather wait, though. I could play Altar of Ball to convince them that I'm not actually doing nothing. I think what I'm actually supposed to do is just pass. Deadly Dispute, block whatever other creature they swing with. And then hear something on the watch, kill Skanos. Not go for Fraying Line nonsense this turn. It does appear to be what has happened. Alright, opponent, what do you want to do to save your Innkeeper? Anything? Nothing. I guess that doesn't actually let me Deadly Dispute, does it? Which is a shame. Okay. This is going to be a problem if they give the Skanos +2/+2, though. Can I actually play around that in any meaningful way? I don't think that I can. I think I kind of have to just run into that and let them hit me with it, which is a bit of a bummer. Oh, alright. It's just a deadly dispute. Oh, okay. I don't care about that. Yeah, the Hexproof untapping +2/+2 is the card I think that blew me out there that I just had to play into because I didn't have a real way to beat it. Okay, that card's mostly just a looter, so that's fine. Now, do I want to convert this treasure into a card? I probably want to convert it into 2 cards. Okay, I was going to say, all these white cards are kind of an issue. But that is less true if we draw more white mana. So how are we doing this? Flaming Fist Officer and Altar of Ball, I suspect. I want to start putting counters on Flaming Fist Officer. I need to not overextend because I want to hold Fraying Line as an option. Okay, draw 3. My opponent's definitely getting a lot of value. That could be an issue. Okay, so let's get in with a 4/1 Menace. They are willing to block with Kaga. Fascinating. You know what? I think I've got enough cards. I don't need to sack that to draw a card. I can just kill their 4/1 and have that be fine. I think I can play the Altar of Ball and not use it too. I want to attack with the Soldiers of Watch to trigger Double Team and then activate Skullport Merchant. I think I also want to sack this treasure, and I still want to not overcommit to the board. I get to see what they're doing. Oh, Shambling Ghast is actually a cute card to exile with Alundo. It's much better if you exile small cards to it. So they get to cast a Shambling Ghast and exile an island. Okay, so they're actually using this correctly, just as a small card advantage engine occasionally, but mostly a loot effect. Ramping. Creatures. Sure. I can fight through that. I've got grindy engines in play. Double team, opponent blocks with a 4/4. We sack the Soldiers of the Watch to Skullport Merchant. Flaming Fist Officer continues getting larger. We like that. Is this the turn that I Fraying Line, or do I wait one more turn for them to overcommit to the board? Do you think you hear something is playable despite pump spells, mainly Lenormand attack triggers, mainly double team? I don't think that it's ideal. Like, it's not the removal spell that I want to be playing, but I do also think that it has been absolutely playable. Like, you can get to the discussion of whether it is a card that is how early you want to cut it, but I am always willing to start with it in my deck and then cut it if needs be, because I've just got other removal. But yeah, it's not perfect, but I don't think that it's embarrassing to play either. Oh, I'm 1 mana short of playing Soldiers of the Watch and activating Altar of Ball and holding up Skullport Merchant. That's sad. I guess I'll just have to not hold up Skullport Merchant. Because I think drawing a card with Priest is worth not drawing a card with Skullport Merchant. Is it possible it was better to sack soldiers in response to the double team? Oh, that's very cute. Yes, that is actually just straight up better. I hadn't thought about it. But yeah, that would keep the double team ability on the copy in the graveyard. We could actually keep that loop going with Altar of Ball for a really long time. Howdy, flying goes well. Sword Coast Serpent. Okay, so we are absolutely playing Fraying Line now. I'm going to operate under the assumption that the opponent is going to pay 2. So they get to save 1 card, which will probably be the Sword Coast Serpent, but my life total is pretty reasonable. I think I want to play the tap land and the Steadfast Paladin, and then just sack the Steadfast Paladin to the Skullport Merchant draw. I got 19 cards, they got 17, that's plenty. No attacks. Yeah, presumably it being a separate game object means that it wouldn't track the double team. It would be an entirely new mechanic if it actually could track objects across game zones that would not behave according to any actual rules of Magic. It's worked with Blur? Okay. So yeah, it does absolutely work then. Alright. Blockity here, prevent the damage. Sackity here, lose 2 life, draw a card. Lose 2 life, draw a card sounds like a kind of effect that I am always on board for. Alright, I would absolutely love to decline. They probably should have looted. Maybe they didn't realize I was allowed to decline. All fine to me. Let's go ahead and start shrinking that Sword Coast Serpent. Gonna be sad if they untap that thing. They did not. Cool, cool. Alright, so if I want to activate Gate of the Black Dragon, I have to not play anything, and I kind of want to play stuff. So I guess we're just gonna play stuff. Oh, I can't play Lulu and Flaming Fist Officer and hold up Skullport Merchant activation? That's disappointing. So maybe I'm just supposed to take this real slow? Yeah, I think once again... No! My Skullport Merchant... How sad. I think opponent's another victim of not realizing that I'm allowed to say no to Fraying Line. Which is the difference that makes the card go from heinously unplayable to actually quite good. We could specialize Lulu into white, but we don't really need to gain more life at all. If I Patriarch's Humiliation this, does it stop getting -1/-1? I think it does. Huh. My opponent has drawn a lot of cards in this particular Magic the Gathering game. Which also means they need to kill me before they deck. But why do that when you could draw more cards, right, opponent? Good point. Okay, that's just 2 Aluondos. Alundo? Alright, alright. Fair enough. Why not? So this dies or leaves the battlefield? Dies. Bummer. Okay, well, let's draw more cards. I would love to get my Skillport Merchant back. Farewell, Lulu. And then... I guess I sack this treasure and see what we draw. Sworn to the Legion. Oh, that sounds like fun. I don't think I'm supposed to play that this turn, though. I think I'm supposed to gate to the Black Dragons this turn, probably? Probably. This looks like a deck with actually playable blue. The sad thing is, I'm actually not sure I agree with that. Ugh, that's annoying. But we can Patriarch's Humiliation it. So it does lose an ability. So I can play Grim Wanderer on my turn, and it loses flying. Oh, also, can we just kill it? Also, we could just kill it. All right, I guess let's just kill it. That seems like a better deal. All right, Shrink the Dragon. Play the Wanderer. Deal 4 damage to the dragon. How sad is it that I think I'm going to actually successfully outvalue this poor opponent and then leave them to deck? Is this a May-loot? It is not a May-loot. No, my Flaming Fist Officer. I don't even have enough mana to sacrifice it. Darn you, opponent. Do I have enough mana to do this? I do. Cool. Alright, opponent. Well, maybe I should actually try to kill you then. Would I like more Skullport Merchants? I don't think so. Not at this current moment. No, come back, opponent, I promise. I was only putting more cards in my hand. I wasn't going to kill you. I was going to let you deck yourself out. Grim Wanderer with double team off of Sword and Legion is actually, like, kind of stellar. It's a May in the term that they need to activate it. So they can activate it and choose not to loot? Is that right? Oh, cool, we get to play one more. I was worried for a second there. What do they have exiled? I think that everything they had looted away was lands at that point. Oh, they can choose not to activate it. And that doesn't let them cast the cards, though, so that's good for me. Although with Infinity Mana, I doubt they have any reason to care about, like, exiling a card only to get it cast 4 turns later or whatever. What am I going to do with all these packs I win? Presumably open them. This is not a very good hand, is it? Do I have to mulligan this? Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is better. It's not good, but it is better. No, Shambling Ghast. Why do you show up at the wrong time? Okay. You got a blocker opponent? No blockers. I get to get in for 3? Presumably? Sweet. Is Shambling Ghast better when it's a 2-1? Time to find out. Oh, hold on, opponent. You do actually have to do something or else you die. Oh, okay. Breath Weapon. Not a card I thought was particularly playable, but okay. There are more embarrassing things than getting a 2-for-1. Harper's Emissary. Oh dear, opponent. That's not fair. I kind of have to do this because I got nothing better to do. That I'm just going to tax them for 2 mana. So this is actually the worst case scenario for Fraying Line. But it does stop them from playing another creature after this. I mean, they could specialize, but then I'm still trading a 1-for-1 card with it. Like, that's still pretty fine. Yeah, that's pretty fine. They could have just not specialized and I would have, like, had to sack it. So they kind of just threw away a card for no reason here. Alright, opponent. Does this scream combat trick? And I guess they can give it indestructible. Oh, they can bounce it to hand. Okay. Alright, well. We have not figured out why the opponent's playing blue, but we have figured out why they're playing black. Oh dear, oh dear. Are we capable of winning this? Not really. Okay. Did they make me discard? No, they didn't actually get particularly good hits off the hag, so that's a small mercy. Our goal is going to be to put a bunch of Steadfast Paladins in the graveyard over the course of many turns, and then ascend from Avernus for like 5 Paladins. Okay. Well, now I get to play a better creature. Oh, and we lost all audio again. Mini is in 1 turn. And our situation here is not particularly... did you really have to bounce it? Oh, because it's lethal? Okay. Couldn't have killed it? Yeah, so that was kind of heinous in every way. Mulligan into not really having any lands, into the opponent just playing a deck with all 6-drops that embarrass Fraying Line pretty hard. Sad. Also, our opponent was playing 4 colors. Apparently. That makes me more sad.